Leon Brittan dies, age 75. Former Home Secretary Leon Brittan has died after a long battle with cancer, his family said on Thursday. Friends say Lord Brittan, who was recently caught in a row over allegations that he failed to act on evidence of child abuse by senior figures in Westminster in the 1980s. Hang on a second, let's be honest, he wasn't caught up in a row about it, was he? He didn't just chip in and wish he hadn't opened his mouth. He was the centre player in allegedly covering up for a Westminster paedophile ring. But let's continue. The 70-year-old was last in hospital in Christmas 2013 for treatment for cancer and heart trouble. He seemed perfectly okay last July when all this broke and he was all over our TV screens. You would have thought the establishment BBC would have sounded the horn at the time if he was ill to get the sympathy vote. It's strange that if he was having a long battle against cancer, that the last time he went to hospital for cancer treatment was Christmas 2013. You would have thought if he was suffering from a long battle with cancer that there would have been plenty of hospital visits in 2014, wouldn't you? Anyway, Lord Brittan was thrust into the headlines in July last year by questions over his handling of a dossier handed to him as Home Secretary in 1983 by Tory MP Geoffrey Dickens, alleging the existence of a paedophile ring at Westminster. I think we can safely say now that with all the evidence that's coming to light, there is no alleging about there being a Westminster paedophile ring. The only question now is who was involved and how far did it reach? The former Home Secretary confirmed that he had a meeting with Dickens and was given a file which he passed on to officials, adding, "I do not recall being contacted further about these matters by Home Office officials, or by Mr. Dickens, or by anyone else." However, the department later released an extract of a letter Lord Brittan sent to Mr. Dickens the following March explaining the matter had been assessed as worth pursuing by the Director of Public Prosecutions and was now being passed to the appropriate authorities. An independent review commissioned by the Home Office in 2013 found that the department had not retained the dossier. A furore over the allegations led to an independent review of the Home Office's handling of child abuse allegations in the 1980s by NSPCC Chief Peter Wanless, whose report last November found no evidence of a cover-up, but warned it was impossible to draw firm conclusions. Unbelievable. Peter Wanless reported last November that he found no evidence of a cover-up by Leon Brittan, but then goes on to say it was impossible to draw firm conclusions. Despite being impossible to draw firm conclusions, he draws them anyway, and lo and behold, they side with Leon Brittan. Impossible to tell, but Leon didn't do it. It's like saying, I found evidence that this person is guilty of murder, although I didn't actually look at any evidence, because it was impossible. This pathetic attempt of an article to deflect the blame from another now dead suspected paedophile goes on. A second, more wide-ranging inquiry into official handling of abuse claims was also commissioned by Home Secretary Theresa May, but its proposed chair, Fiona Woolf, stood down after questions were raised about her social links with Leon Brittan, who was a near neighbour. I watched a bit of the child abuse inquiry update today. Terry May looked bloody awful. She doesn't need suitcases when she goes on holiday. She can just pack the bags under her eyes. Anyway, Terry May was struggling to explain why they haven't chosen a new chairperson for this inquiry yet. You could tell by the way her wrinkles were twitching. She really wanted to say something like, "Look everyone, I have to try and find someone who will look credible to the people who've survived MPs raping them, but who will also remain true to the establishment, and someone who will get away with looking credible to the survivors whilst openly lying and planting disinformation, so the whole thing doesn't blow up in our faces. It's so obvious this is why they're stalling. Wait, Terry May, I don't work. I have the time to chair the inquiry. I put my heart and soul into it. That I promise you. And I wouldn't even need paying. I'll do it if everyone else is a bit busy." Anyway, this article goes on. A source said of the impact of the claim upon his health, he was under stress caused by the Westminster paedophile allegations. It didn't help. If someone came to you with a list of paedophiles on it, what would you do? Accidentally lose it and not act upon it? Or would you move heaven and earth to get this scum? Unless you would do the latter, you are scum. Even without mentioning the allegation that Leon Brittan was caught on video raping a child, a video that was seized at an airport, even without mentioning that, never mind, even without mentioning that, the dossier alone and his covering up of it and the fact that he clearly didn't do anything about it, I'm glad he's fucking dead. He'll be remembered at the very least as a paedophile sympathiser. Or will he be remembered as another Jimmy Savile? I suppose time will tell. Another article about this from Sky News has an interesting comment. Former Home Secretary Leon Brittan dies. Former Tory leader Lord Howe has said it is a tragedy Lord Brittan's last few days were dogged by unsubstantiated allegations about a Westminster paedophile ring. Well, Lord Howard, you absolute fucking muppet, if this now dead bloke did his bloody job correctly in the first place, these unsubstantiated allegations would have been substantiated. It's because of dead bloke Brittan that they remain unsubstantiated. Now crawl back into your fucking vampire house, Howard. Last thing, can we please try and convict an actual living fucking paedophile next time?